All right. Well, I went to go see Glass Onion, and look at that. We have a Chiron that actually matches what I think. An utter waste of money. It really was. I went to go see this. I took my mom. She wanted to go see it because she liked Knives Out. And it was like, I don't know. I think Daniel Craig is a talented actor, and he's a clown essentially in this. And
Mhm.
everybody else in this movie just worthless performances. Um, I just even Edward Norton, who I love, and this movie was just a waste of his talent. So much of this is just a big. It's an ostentatious show of how much money they spent on this thing and the names that they could get. And what you're left with is a really bad, long season of a miniseries edited into one long movie. It's too long. It's not a good mystery. A good mystery will like allow you to try and solve it yourself. But all they do is they withhold information, and then you get to the end. So it's like you basically have to be, you just have to be strung along. It is
Okay,
horrible.
my first question, did you
Yeah.
like the original Knives Out?
I wasn't crazy about it, but it was better than this.
Okay, but your initial reaction to the first Knives Out.
I like the mission of it. I like the idea of it. And I think that might be the thing that a lot of people feel with these things is that they like
Yeah.
the idea of basically a game of Clue with your favorite celebrities.
Yeah.
That markets itself. People will be into that. I don't think the execution is good. I think they spent way too much on hair, makeup, wardrobe, location, and other special effects. The script is just full of name dropping, and there's a bunch of these puzzle scenes and all this like, and it's the whole thing really just exists to make people feel intelligent, even though it's a really dumb movie. Even in the
Mm.
movie, maybe they're aware of this because Daniel Craig calls out Ed Norton's character for having not orchestrated anything. He just pays for everybody to make him have this appearance of an Elon Musk type guy. And it's just, he says it's not clever. It's actually just really, really dumb. And I go, great. That's how I feel about this movie.
Wait, Ed Norton said that about his own character in the
Daniel
movie?
Craig says that about Ed
Oh,
Norton's
okay.
character.
Isn't there
Okay.
like this
I was
line in
like,
the movie where he like Daniel Craig's character says something like it's dangerous to confuse just saying it's dangerous to confuse speaking without thinking with speaking the truth. Something like that, right? Where
Yeah.
it's the idea of these are like superficial characters who really it doesn't feel like this is a movie that lives up, like at least based on what you're saying, to the original, which the original had. There were a lot of stereotypical characters in there, and it was to a certain degree the kind of movie where you just bring in people and they're there to play a role in a like a piece of a puzzle. But as long as the main character, like in this case Daniel Craig, does well, you're fine. But
Yeah.
once I mean, I guess, but you still need a strong mystery, right? Like if it's
And there
yeah.
not a
wasn't
good
one.
mystery,
There
isn't it?
wasn't
Was
one. All you have is a question, which is who kills this person? And it's not a mystery. It's just this person kills that person, and it's actually, I mean, it's just revealing more of the plot as opposed to giving you clues and actually discovering something.
right?
Basically, you just have to sort of sit there and not think for the whole time, which is the
Oh,
opposite of what a mystery movie
yeah.
should do.
Because I feel like in the first one, I definitely, although I do think, and obviously that the first Knives Out made Anna de Armas famous very
Mhm.
quickly overnight. I think she was definitely the main character, I would argue, in the last movie. And she definitely
Yeah.
made that movie. Um, but even in that movie, I do feel like I was kind of like, wait, I actually don't know who did it. And like this man is wait, he's here? Like he's actually alive? Like I'm so confused.
Yeah,
Like it
I
was
mean,
good.
and you look at, honestly, you look at all the glass sculptures and like just the island that they filmed it on, and it's just another one of those things where it's like, okay, another movie where a bunch of actors got to take a vacation and hang out together. Great, glad I could pay for it. So on top of that, it takes place in 2020, and they do all this. The opening scene, Catherine Hahn opens her door for a delivery man. He's got a mask, and she goes, "Oh, fuck, oh, whoops, sorry." And it's like she's not wearing a mask, and she's poking fun at that. But all of this is counter to really the ideas that people had in those years. They go to this dock where they get basically vaccinated in the throat with a gun. And it's just like, so you're good for the rest of the movie. You don't have to even think about it. It's like, why even put it in 2020 in that case? And
yeah, especially like 2020 reality. That's weird.
It was full of these stupid name droppy type things. They clearly had made this before all of the FTX stuff and all of the Bitcoin and crypto stuff that happened in the last couple of weeks, because they were trying to pump up NFTs and crypto. And really, it was like a list of buzzwords and a list of celebrities. And they said, this is everything that people are talking about. So clearly it's a good movie. And you know what? It's just not.
Yeah, honestly, within the 3-word text message I received after you watched that movie, I was just like, yeah, I don't really want to deal with them Grove to watch that.
Yeah.
Good.
So apparently the movie's actually doing well, though, because it was released in theaters, limited, and people are excited to see it. And, I definitely had people sitting next to me being like, oh, well, Dave Bautista, he's so hot. And like, this was a great movie. This was so fun. And it's like, I had a horrible time. And honestly.
Oh, no. I mean, you are our harshest critic, so I'm not surprised.
Maybe, but
when it comes out on Netflix, I'll watch it and then I'll
watch it. I mean, again, I took my mom. She is not a harsh critic at all, and she hated it. She hated it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Fell asleep. Some people walked out. And again, this is why we can't trust box office numbers, is because
people walked out of the movie.
Oh yeah. Really? And once you buy the ticket, they've got your money. So it doesn't matter if you like it or if you dislike it. You paid to go.
So telling.
You paid them for it. And so yeah, people walked out, people fell asleep. I hated it, but I stayed for the whole thing because I'm a trooper and I owe that to you.
I have never fallen asleep.
Well, I'm sure we talked about this pre-show, but I had a weird experience because I bought my tickets online, went to the theater in AMC near me, which is like my usual go-to. And then I walk in, it's the last showing of the day. I walked in like 10, 15 minutes after the showtime because they show you a half an hour of trailer. So I like to skip that. And there was a cop there oh, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I'm here to see a movie. It's a movie theater, right? And I've got my ticket. I bought them online. He's like, yeah, we're closed. We closed 15 minutes ago. And there's nobody here to validate your ticket, which seemed like a really odd thing. I've never had that happen before. I walked in to midnight showings 15 minutes after this started, and it's not been a problem. No less on a Saturday. I don't know what happened there. I got my money back at the end, so maybe I saved some money, in effect, because now I can just wait till it drops on Netflix. I don't have to go watch it in theaters. I mean, look, it is doing well with the critics. The 93% Rotten Tomatoes, 222 reviews, 93% with the audience rating. And at the box office, as of Sunday morning, they're looking at basically a number of 15 million that is pulling in for the weekend after playing in only 638 theaters. Which basically,
is it just because people are afraid to tell Daniel Craig you did a bad job?
I don't.
No, you know what? Daniel Craig doesn't do a bad job in this movie. In fact, his accent is actually better in this one than it was in the first one, because it was not good in the first one.
What was the accent? I don't even remember.
He goes from being a British guy to doing this Louisiana bayou sort of thing.
I do remember.
And it's
I will be honest, that accent is really hard to nail. I had to do it and I'm from Florida, and my the grandfather I was raised with is from Baton Rouge, and I can't even nail down the accent. It's
It's a
so
tough one,
like
but he
it's
opted to
all
do
the
it.
way in the
If you're,
back.
if
Yeah,
you're gonna
it's
be
crazy.
in a multi-million-dollar movie and do an accent, like
You just
that's
go and hire a Louisianan to teach you.
or you at least, you try to nail it before you start filming. But
Yeah.
I think after you're James Bond and you sign up to do something like this, everybody kind of knows, victory lap, just kind of enjoying it. It's going to be funny. I don't have a problem with that. I just think the rest of the movie isn't funny enough to like work with that character. And I don't know. It wasn't even convoluted, and it could have been. It was just them
Good.
not
Well,
giving you all the information up front.
let me ask you this
Not
then.
good.
Like, if here's the thing, most people will. I mean, the movie's called Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. It is basically the same continuity, different stories. Only one character really comes across, which is Daniel Craig. So, to people who went and saw Knives Out and are fans of that movie and would like to see more of that movie, which this is meant to be, what would you say to them?
If you like the first one, this one still has Daniel Craig. It still has a bunch of stupid, out of touch rich people with their rich people problems talking to each other. And honestly, the whole conceit is really getting revenge on them. And something I wasn't crazy about, a bit of a spoiler, is the resolution, it seems, comes from burning the Mona Lisa, which I wasn't a fan of. It's like you're getting revenge on Ed Norton's character who bought it, and he has sort of a fetish for it. But given what's been going on with works of art and people trying to destroy them to like call attention to climate change, or it was just like, really, we need this in a movie too.
That's
thought,
just straight sacrilege.
yeah,
Being as
that's
someone who
weird.
studied in France, like I studied in Paris, France, and I went to the Louvre. Like I spent 4 full days at the Louvre across the 6 weeks I was there, because you can't see all the art in one day or 2
Yeah.
days or 3 days. There was still art I didn't get to go watch, like see. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
How
I
I feel
mean,
about that.
just the false equivalence between having money and being spoiled, I think, is over exploited here. It's like, not everybody who's got money is evil. Not all of these influencers are stupid. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's kind of just like a bunch of stereotypes, that if you're watching it, you just think, yeah, this is what rich people are like. And it's just as unfair as any other stereotype, I'd say.
I mean, to kind of follow up on that, like this, from a business standpoint for Netflix, is meant to be like this big spectacle play, and they gave like 400 plus million to Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig to make 2 sequels. Basically said, here's your budget, here's your payment, keep the rest. Like, it's like whatever. So there's this, they had a big red carpet premiere. You have a lot of glamour and all that stuff, and but it looks like a lot of that is empty. Like there's no substance behind
It
it.
was
Whereas,
totally empty movie. I mean, and I'll be honest, even the spectacle of it was underwhelming. It was, there was a lot of glass, and they broke a lot of glass, and they,
okay,
there was a replica of the Mona Lisa, and a big island thing. And I'm sure the way it was actually built, I'm sure the actual building was CG, but I just thought it was a silly waste of time that they dragged out for way too long. There's an entire middle sequence where they expose one of the characters as actually being the twin sister. It's like, I don't care. You still don't have any, where that sequence starts and ends. It's, any of these people could have killed the guy. And at the end of that sequence, any of those people could have killed the guy. It's like, that was a waste of 45 minutes.
I mean, I can't believe they used that trope. Okay, well, it looks like this movie, based on what you're saying, just relies on tropes, stereotypes, and then just, I guess, political messaging, or like maybe not political, but just like what you said with crypto and stuff like that. I never like it when that stuff is put ahead of telling a good story. Like, just tell me a good story. That's all I need.
It really
Good
just
mystery
felt like
keeps you hooked.
they had a list of things that they wanted to include to make it sound like if only really edgy in the know people will understand all of the references. And so if you do, you get to go, oh, I'm in the know, I understand. And then Ed Norton gives this whole speech about how important it is to be a disruptor. And I was watching that, and I was like, some idiot's going to look at this and think that that's what they have to do. And the fact that they call themselves disruptors in the first place, it's the whole
like disruptors of society, disruptors
of society,
what?
of art, of the bleeding edge of progress. And there was no redeeming quality to any character in this. Daniel Craig is silly. He's smarter than everybody, and you get a couple good laughs out of that. But I'm really not impressed here.
Yeah, that's not good. If you can't walk away and say, yeah, I liked that character, but you have to specifically say, I disliked all of those characters, that's not redeeming at all.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you one last question then. Would you recommend somebody go see this in theaters for the few more days it's out in a few hundred theaters? So I guess if you actually have it playing near you, because for me, like there's only one theater near me playing at that AMC that I went to, and I think that's like a 50-mile radius, almost nowhere else in the state, unless you go, I think, to the edge of Connecticut. There's like, or not really, but like, there's very few theaters playing this. Would you recommend somebody go see this in a theater?
Let Netflix let them hang to dry for a little. Let them hang them out to dry, right? Just let them spend the money. They're gonna make another one of these. I'm definitely not gonna fall for this again. This happened with Gray Man. This happened every time they go. Netflix has released its own content. It's so good, we're actually going to tease it in theaters, and you should pay to see it there, because actually, as it turns out, we're not making a whole lot of money on our typical model of gaining subscribers. In fact, we're adding ads. And you know what? You go, and it's like, yeah, they spent a lot of money on the CG, on the lighting, on the actors. Gray Man, they spent $200 million, and it was bad.
Well, they were trying to establish a franchise. That was clearly the intent of that movie, was we want to turn this into spin-offs and sequels galore. And they did. I don't know how you could announce all of that afterward, but
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. But you know what? Netflix is in the business of creating middling miniseries that each episode ends on a cliffhanger. And when you're there,
the Sandman
you have
was good
to watch.
The Sandman was really good, and Stranger Things. I mean, but they're like exceptions to the rule.
Stranger Things
I haven't seen
better.
Sandman. Stranger Things. I actually think it's one of the best shows I've seen in a long time.
The last season was good. The last season.
The latest.
Was good.
I think the season before the
worthless.
newest one was a little lackluster. I liked the first couple of seasons. Then season 3 was a little. Season 4.
What I'm saying here is
maybe I think it was a big transition season.
This movie, this series of movies could be a mini series, but what they did is it's like when you've been watching Netflix for too long. I got that Netflix fatigue feeling in this movie. I was like, this feels like 4 episodes of something I'm not crazy about.
Well,
so
there's going to be a sequel.
Stay home, watch it there, take breaks in between, because they don't divide it up into episodes like they should.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a sequel because they already paid for it. They paid like $500 million to make 2 sequels to the original. And this is only the first of those 2 sequels. So more to come.
Yeah. We'll see. But you know what? It's not just my opinion that counts. Let us know what you think. And if I'm totally wrong, if I missed something, if maybe I'm the big idiot here, I would love to know. Let me know. I'm really interested to hear your opinion on this.